Hello everybody and welcome to another Test Your Chess video. The format of this video is that we're going to play through an endgame, a rook and pawn endgame, and I'm going to ask you your opinions on the moves and see if you can select the right move from various options. And if you get the right move or a very strong move, you gain points, and if you play a bad move or one that loses an advantage, you will usually lose points. And the highest points total you can get in this video is 20 points. If you get 12 or more, you will have done very well and probably will be pretty good at playing endgames. So this is white to move and win. Have a look at the position for about 20 seconds, and then I will give you two possible moves for white. One will be good, one will be not so good. Okay, the two moves are pawn to g4 or rook to b6. Which one would you play? You can pause the video here. I will reveal the answer in 5 seconds. Okay, so the move g4 is not so good. It blocks everything in, and with this type of pawn structure, black should be able to draw this game by playing king g7 to f7 to g7 over and over again. So you lose a point if you said g4, but you get 2 points if you say rook to b6. This increases the activity of the rook and makes it a lot more aggressive, attacking 2 pawns simultaneously. Black now needs to respond, and you have 2 moves to choose from for black. One is king g7. The other is defending the pawn by playing rook to f7. So which move do you think is better? Again, you can pause the video. I will reveal the answer in 5 seconds. Okay, well, king g7 gets you a point because you may as well use this move as an opportunity to get the king to a more active square than h8. And you lose a point if you said rook to f7, because this makes the rook even more passive than it was earlier. And in endgames, you don't really want to have passive pieces playing against stronger counterparts which are on the attack. So this would probably give me the opportunity to march up with my king, and you wouldn't be able to do much about it. So king g7 was played, and now there are 3 choices that you have as white. One of them is g4 again. There are slight differences in this position to earlier ones. There's h6 check, gaining space, and also king f3. So what would you do here? Okay, well, g4 does lose a point again because you're blocking everything up, and black still has a fairly easy draw with moves like h6 and then king f7 to g7 for an eternity. h6 check is interesting. If black takes it, then you can take on f6 with check, and black's pawns will be weak. But I have king g6 now, and I can still draw by playing king f7 to g6 to f7 to g6 forever. So you lose a point if you said h6, but you gain 2 points if you said king f3. So king f3 is a subtle move, but one that is very, very strong. And if you hadn't considered the move king f3, have a look at the implications of this move. Black plays h6 to guard the pawn on g5 a little more. And here, 2 more options for white. You can either exchange pawns on the queen side with a6, and that way you can concentrate more on the king side, or you can advance with your king to g4. Okay, 5 seconds. Well, the move a6 will not gain you anything because generally you want to keep more pawns on if you can. Here you've taken away the opportunity to create an initiative on the queen side and to create threats of creating a passed pawn. And if you're only fighting on one area, which would be the king side, it's much, much more difficult to win in general. And I think here black would probably be able to draw fairly easily, which we're going to look at in a moment. But king g4 gains you 3 points, because your king is now becoming a lot more active. But if we go back a little for a bonus point, after a6, black captures, white captures. What move would you play as black here? Okay, I'm not giving any options for this one, just try and find a good move in general for black. Okay, well, there is an adage which is rook to the 7th, because that generally is good in attacking pawns and having a very active rook. And in endgames, you have to go for activity. So rook to d2 gets you a point here. And this counterattack from black should ensure that black can level the match. And it should be a draw here. I can't really see a way for white to make any progress at this point. And if many more pawns are swapped off, black could even lose a pawn and still be able to draw. So here, king g4 was the right move. And black now plays rook to c7. And what would you play now? There are 2 moves. One is king to f5. The other is f4, gaining space on the king side. Okay, well the move f4 will be 0 points. So you're not losing anything, not gaining anything. This move allows black to swap off, and even though you gain some space on the king side, it seems that you've weakened white's position too. Now white has a very weak h5 pawn, and the e4 pawn is not too great either. And black's troubles are almost over because the f6 pawn is the only one that's really able to be targeted by white. So black could just shift the king over to f7, and I think we still have a drawn match here. So no points for f4, but you get 2 points, sorry, 2 points, if you said king f5. This was the point of maneuvering the king. Now it's very active and going after that weak f6 pawn. So having an active king is very useful in the endgame. You've got the rook active first, and now you've got an active king, and black's pieces are far too passive. So Black has a few moves that are available. One of them is Rook f7, so defending the pawn. And what would you play here for white? Well, 3 points if you've got one of these moves. There are more than one move. There's more than one move that is good here. My personal favourite, though, is f3. So what you want to do is keep the king and rook where they are, because your rook is attacking 2 pawns simultaneously. It's on the best square it can really be. And your king is also on the best square it could be. But black's rook and king are completely stuck. And if one of them moves, then white wins a pawn. And black can't make any pawn moves. So by wasting a move, by passing with a move like f3 or g4, then black will have to move. Let's say rook to d7, and now rook takes f6. And this is very comfortable for white. So that's what would have happened if rook f7 was played. Instead, rook to c2 was played. And now, what should white play? 3 options. One is taking on f6. 2 is taking on b7. And the third one is holding off taking a pawn and guarding our own with f4. Okay, well, rook b7 is worth 3 points. You're taking with check and forcing the enemy king onto the back rank. It's a very strong move. f4 is not as convincing. You still gain a point because white is still winning by quite a margin, but black could play rook c7, and then it's not as easy as rook takes b7 check, getting a rook on the 7th. So the move which loses, though, and you don't gain anything, you gain -3 points for this, is if you did rook takes f6, black has rook takes f2 check, skewering the king and rook. Now black is completely winning, and you've gone from a winning rook and pawn endgame to a completely lost endgame. So if we go back, yes, so yeah, both moves lose for black, but rook c2 is better because after the f3, which gained you 3 points, black's very passive. But here black is losing, and rook b7 was played in the game. King f8. So black still has chances, though. The rook is active. And white played king takes f6. Now rook takes f2. King takes e5. Rook h2. So the final move we need to find is, what is the strongest move for white? What's the best move? Again, feel free to pause the video and take as long as you need to analyze the position. I'll reveal the answer in about 5 seconds. Okay, well, king f6 is a good idea, threatening checkmate, but the thing is that after rook f2 check, so let's do king f6, rook f2 check, king g6, and white would win by taking on h6 and then getting the pawn on the h-file up the board, but it would take quite a long time. So the strongest move by quite a way is a6. The pawn's already passed, so you may as well push a passed pawn. And now there's an unstoppable threat of playing a7, and then if the rook is on the a-file, preventing a8 queen, white has a very easy way to win. So here, let's say rook a5 check, king f6, rook a6 check, king f5, rook a5 check, king g4, and then rook a4, white can win with the maneuver rook b8 check, king moves, and now white can make a queen. And this is a very, very simple win for white. So I hope you enjoyed this video and it helped improve your rook and pawn endgames. Comment, like, subscribe, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye.